Hey guys, how's it going? And welcome to the showdown between the High Elves led by Teclis and the Warriors of Chaos who are going to be led by Kolek Suneater. So without further ado, let's jump right into this match and have some fun. So as far as my army goes, we're going to be going with a bit of a ranged army using two Eagle Claw Bolt Throwers. So basically we're going to be trying to draw on the Warriors of Chaos, and also based on the parameters of this map, you can see there's some pretty nice hills here in the back, so we can actually get some really good line of sight with these Bolt Throwers. Even though Bolt Throwers are pretty decent in terms of line of sight. It's not as bad as like a Hellblaster Volley Gun. They do have a nice little arc of fire. So we have two of the Bolt Throwers here in the back, which can do pretty good against like Kolek and Shaggots, which you do see in this matchup. So we can put them on the single target mode. And if he does have like Chosen and a ton of heavy infantry, it looks like it's mostly Chaos Warriors over there. We can put it on the spread fire and do a little bit more damage. So two Eagle Claw Bolt Throwers going for a lot of battlefield control with these guys. A couple groups of spears are going to be defending each of those Bolt Throwers. And as far as our main infantry core, we're actually going to be going with the White Lions. So I've been playing with White Lions quite a bit in a multitude of different matchups, trying to figure out their niche and are they really as bad as people say? And I've kind of found that if you use them in the secondary line, so if they don't take that initial charge, they definitely do pretty well, because the big issue with the White Lions is you look at them on paper and you're like, their stats are pretty good. Granted, their model count is somewhat low as well as their HP, but a lot of their power is going to be resting on their martial prowess. So 12 melee defense and 2 melee attack is obviously going to be given to them if they are above 50%. So if they don't take that initial charge and take like a huge kind of charge bonus from their opponent, they can actually do pretty well in prolonged combat. So I just have them here in the secondary line. We're going to be using the Spearmen to take the brunt of the charge here. So we do have the Signs of Methlon right here, who are pretty damn good. These are the Regiment of Renown of High Elf Spearmen. They give an aura of protection. So anyone in this radius, well, right now there's not really anyone in the radius, but once the fighting starts, it should be. It does give a 12% damage resist to all nearby allies when your mana is above 50%. So should be pretty good there. So we got the White Lions. We have one group of the Sisters of Averlorn. So I just wanted to have like one mobile, dedicated armor-piercing missile unit. Obviously, there's going to be units like Kolek and Summoners of Rage and Chaos Knights. So I wanted to have something that could perpetually pressure them. For our leadership goon squad here, we do have Teclis, and he's going to be joined by two nobles. So this is pretty much, in my opinion, one of the most competitive compositions. Use Nets of Emmetalk and Enfeebling Foe against Kolek, and you get the two nobles and just kind of go to town on him, which can be pretty good. It's still very dangerous because Kolek can really take these guys out quickly, but I think having the anti-large armor-piercing mobility with these guys, plus the supporting magic of Teclis, is very powerful. Two groups of Reavers. So Reavers are pretty good against Chaos. And you probably are wondering, like, why are they good against Chaos? Well, they're good because they're very good at shutting down Poison Hounds and kind of harass units. So number one, if they have throwing axes, Marauder Horsemen, Marauder Horsemasters, or if they have Poison Hounds trying to get into your archers, the Reavers are an excellent counter. And, if there's nothing else, you could just use them as like a tool against Marauders. You can rear charge against infantry and trigger their penalty. Just a very solid utility unit in this matchup. It didn't seem like it would be, but they are. For my opponent's army, a very defensive formation, which had I not brought the Bolt Throwers, would have been very devastating. On the high ground, he does have the Soul of Damnation here, as well as another Hell Cannon. Yeah, so he does have a Hell Cannon with some chevrons. So had I had like a very infantry-focused army and just marching across the battlefield, he could have just bombed me, and I would have had to just go and fight him and go fisticuffs and break through to get to these guys. But Bolt Throwers are an excellent counter against Hell Cannons. They're very accurate, and a couple of Bolt Thrower rounds, like 5 or 6, 7 rounds, can actually destroy these Hell Cannons. So I should be able to net some value, as these things, the Eagle Claw Bolt Throwers only cost like 600, 700 against like the 2,000, I think, of the Soul of Damnation. I know it's really, really expensive. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. For his infantry, he does have Chaos Warriors, Chaos Marauders with great weapons. The Chaos Warriors are very good against Spearman builds, the Sword and Shield variant, or the Axe and Shield. I think they have axes. And he does have some Chaos Marauders with great weapons to fight against my White Lions. Top of that, he does have a Metal Caster. It looks like he has Final Transmutation. He looks like he has 4 of the 5 spells, so definitely going for some tactical flexibility there. He does have the Rod, so of course he can choose whichever. I assume he'll probably be using Final Transmutation on Teclis and my Nobles. He does have the Summoners of Rage, Kolek, and that is pretty much it. So without further ado, guys, get this show on the road. So we'll fast forward a little bit, as there is some posturing here. My forces do have to advance to get closer. So the Bolt Throwers are just kind of scooting up, and I will be following in suit. So I'm going to be taking some fire because the range on the Hell Cannons is 420. But now you can see the Bolt Throwers are shooting into the Hell Cannons, and it's already made some decent contact with the first volley. The second volley should be coming in here in just a moment. And the Soul of Damnation will be firing in, I'm sure, at some of my White Lions, some of these other units. But regardless, the Bolt Throwers are a very good answer against like large, clunky artillery. So the same goes for like trebuchets and things like that. So yeah, look at that damage. That is pretty damn good for how cheap they are. Regardless, he is returning fire a little bit. Looks like he did hit the Bolt Throwers, but this Hell Cannon, I'm not sure if he's manually aiming it, but let's go ahead and see. Looks like it goes over and does clip the back of that Bolt Thrower crew, but definitely not netting too much value compared to the accuracy of the Bolt Throwers. Another volley there. Honestly, this Hell Cannon is probably almost destroyed. I don't really know how the HP works, like if that's the HP of the crew, or like it'd be interesting if there was like another statistic here, like the kind of the damage of the Soul of Damnation here. or the life it has left. But regardless, the Illyrian Reavers are going to be coming in, and they get a nice little rear charge here, able to kind of slip under the eyes of the Summoners of Rage. They're going to be attacking, but of course I have to retreat basically almost immediately because his forces will come in here. Up on the high ground, you can see the other Reaver group is coming down from the mountain pass. So right now I'm just going to kind of start, sandwiching. So I'm going to be cycle charging, attacking, and it was pretty easy to miss those. I think they were actually out of line of sight just over this hill here, which was pretty useful for me. And you can see the crew has been knocked off. The bolt thrower is continuing to just wreak havoc, and this other group is going to be slipping through as these Chaos Marauders do adjust to kind of intercept me here. And it looks like the Summoners of Rage are back here as well. So these guys are going to be charging in against the Hell Cannon, and it looks like they're able to do some pretty substantial damage. And yeah, Kolek's going to be rushing in, so he's going to obviously be able to pick some of these guys off. And yeah, he takes out quite a few of those Reavers, but I would say the bolt throwers actually just killed that. I don't think it was the Reavers, although they did do some damage to the crew. But yeah, as soon as he kind of reacts to this, the other group's going to be charging in, and then I will be pulling these guys back and pulling them back in. So obviously the Summoners of Rage are able to fend me off here. But all is going pretty well. The Sisters of Avalorn are shooting into the Chaos Marauders with the great weapons here because they don't have shields. So I figured, hey, let's take out some of their AP to kind of soften things up for the White Lines a little bit. But the Hell Cannon is doing some pretty decent damage. So at least, despite the fact that my opponent has lost them relatively early, they got some value taking out my Sisters. And on top of that, I didn't get a chance to show you guys, but I had my Nobles and Teclis kind of bunched up. And my opponent did get an overcasted Final Transmutation on the Nobles here, which did some pretty rough damage for sure. So my apologies if you guys hear Wookiee. He's screeching in the background. He must be making friends out there. But the Illyrian Reavers over here kind of just circling about, looking for an opportunity. Just trying to outmaneuver these Summoners of Rage, who are a pretty slow unit. But obviously, Kolek, I think, is about as fast. No, 90 speed compared to 78 on Kolek. You can see the cannon crews are pretty much done for. So the main reason I wanted to show you guys this game was simply to show you that the bolt throwers are a very good answer against like large artillery like this. Now that the crews are kind of waddling forward, the Reavers don't have too many good targets, so they will be charging in here to kind of shut down these cannon crews, just going balls deep into those Chaos Dwarves, sending them flying into another plane of existence. So right now, the Spearmen take the brunt of the charge here. You can see the signs of Methlon here, who are very, very tough. I mean, they have high melee defense. They're going to be able to fend these guys off. And it looks like the, not the Dragon Princes, but the White Lines are going to be charging in to meet these Chaos Warriors, although they did get caught up on the edge here. And you can see Kolek is actually getting amongst the infantry. He definitely wants to be fighting great weapons rather than spears, but I think he's just trying to hunt down Teclis, which is tough. And look how fast he's accelerating. Like, Kolek is literally pushing that Noble out of the way, going after Teclis, and Teclis is very low. You can see there's Overwatch fire from the bolt throwers trying to wear down Kolek. And yeah, I was surprised because Teclis is quite a bit faster, I think. No, he's actually the same speed, give or take. So he has 78 speed. Unfortunately, Kolek gets in there with Starcrusher, does one devastating attack on Teclis. Almost takes him down to like the danger zone, but right here I'm going to be getting a net of Amnitok here. The two Nobles are going to be chasing him and spearing him and hopefully able to bring down this giant Chaos monstrosity with the Sword of Cain up there in the distance. That's kind of a cool little cinematic right there, but regardless, we are getting some good damage. The enfeebling foe is going down, lowering his melee defense, and the Spearmen are going to be forming ranks to potentially deal with him. So I think having one group of Sisters was definitely worth it as well, but I do have a lot of missile troops, so had there been more Hounds, it could have been very scary. So we're focusing down Kolek here with the enfeebling foe. The frontline fight's going pretty well. The White Line's actually performing pretty decently against these Warriors of Chaos here. On the far side, you can see my Spearmen are fighting. In my Reavers, I'm basically just using the rear charge, but unfortunately the Summoners of Rage were kind of waiting for them there, and yeah, it's not a good engagement for the boys. A couple of the angry Chaos Dwarves seeking revenge for their fallen Hell Cannons. And these White Lines are actually able to maneuver up and around and get a rear charge and a wrap on these guys. But they're great weapons, and the fact that they're healthy means they're going to be fighting pretty efficiently for their cost. So they should be able to just sandwich and kind of destroy these Chaos Warriors. A pretty good bombardment for my opponent. Lower fire, or lower metal right there with the Searing Doom going down. But Kolek's still kind of rampaging, so he did fall back right there, but he's in relatively good health, has about 3,000 HP. He was able to lay a beat down on Teclis as well as my Nobles here. So the Nobles are going to be rushing in to fight against the big angry Summoners of Rage down here. In the back, the bolt throwers are still in line. It looks like there's going to be a vortex, but thankfully I did dodge that. I think that was a Golden Hounds of Candace? That was actually the chain lightning from the Summoners of Rage. I was kind of trying to wonder what that could be, but he's artillery, the Eagle Claw bolt throwers, continuing to provide anti-large armor-piercing missiles against Kolek, so at least he's being constantly pressured. He can't just run around with impunity. The White Lines, it's so weird. Like, the past couple weeks, I've been having a lot of success with White Lines, and it feels very strange to me in replays to be like, and the White Lines are doing really good, but yeah, it just doesn't seem like it should go together here. But anyways, his caster is coming in here. I do get a net of Amnitok, and the Noble does countercharge him, so this guy's definitely in the wrong neighborhood, and he's going to get taken out. As the White Lines and the Spearmen of the High Elves are able to fend off these foul Chaos Beasts. You can see the Summoners of Rage in a desperation move are trying to shut down the artillery, but the High Elf Spearmen are pretty durable. I mean, 53 melee defense is really solid, and that will definitely help mitigate a lot of the damage coming in from the 38 melee attack of these Summoners here. So they're slowly getting dragged down with their 45 armor. Kolek is now pushed in here, but the Nobles and the Spearmen, as well as Teclis, are all nearby, and they should be able to kind of intercept. You can see this one Noble with a heroic charge on Kolek, He does have the glittering robe, putting him up to 130 armor, which is pretty cool. But at this point, it looks like he's going to be wavering due to army losses. So well played to my opponent. It was definitely a fun game. Really wanted to showcase you guys kind of the effectiveness of the bolt throwers. And I think they're really good at shutting down like Hell Cannon play. And I mean, a lot of this battle was kind of a 1 in the army selection screen. I mean, he brought a Hell Cannon build, which is pretty good against like high elf infantry builds and missile builds. Like, had I gone with like Sisters and Everqueen's Court Guards, and if I didn't bring these Eagle Claw bolt throwers, he could have just sat on that hill and just bombed me with those Hell Cannons, and it would have been devastating. But considering that, you know, he brought these, and I basically brought a hard counter for like 1/3 the cost with the bolt throwers, it was pretty rough for him to begin with there. But the white lines perform well, 95, 50, 49, and I think that's also something else we can kind of take away from this game is that the white lines are, you know, if you put them in the secondary line and let the spearmen take the brunt of the charge with their high melee defense and charge defense, then you come in with the white lines. I still don't think they're the best unit in the game, but again, I still think they're quite a bit better under those circumstances, and they can definitely perform. So yeah, I was pretty happy with their performance here. The Reavers, of course, very good for skirmishing, and that map was very weird. I noticed that when my Reavers were like down and behind, they were actually hidden from my opponent's sight. He couldn't see them because of the hill there, so I think that was partially why I was able to sneak over. And the other one, there's like this big lip up in the mountains there, like this valley you can kind of sneak through. So definitely some good kind of tactical sneaking there from the Reavers. So that was some fun stuff. For my opponent's army, let's see, what would I change if I were to do something similar? The Metalcaster, I mean, Kolok and the Metalcaster are good choices. I would probably just go with the Final Transmutation and cut all the other spells. It's really good against like High Elves and Nobles and stuff like that. The Chaos Marauders with great weapons, I kind of see like going with because a lot of High Elf players just use Spearmen and not like heavy infantry. So the Chaos Warriors here with the Axe and the Shields are a little bit better under those circumstances. So, but the Marauders with great weapons, I don't know if I'm a huge fan of those guys. I might even kind of inverse it and get Chaos Warriors with great weapons and then Marauders with these the Axes and the Shields to fight the Spearmen. I think that would allow you to go a little bit wider and bring a little bit more tactical flexibility. And I also think that having like one group of hounds, regardless for the poison, is always pretty useful. So anyways, very well played to my opponent, Papa John. Look forward to running into you again on ladder. Papa John. I think he actually had like the pizza logo when we were playing, and it definitely made me laugh. So good stuff, man. So very well played to my opponent, Papa John. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this High Elf vs. Chaos game. And guys, we will see you all next time.